growth, the process of increasing in size. A feature that is both individual, intrinsic, and throughout nature.
This is going to be so interesting, you know.
This is the moment we have been waiting for.
I'm feeling it now.
What has come before is now consigned to the history books. This new decade brings new challenges, new rivals, falling giants, and new beginnings.
Bang, bang, bang! 3 shots to the heart.
Oh,
It's the back end.
Oh no!
Those who are climbing will meet. Who will fall by the wayside, and who will embody growth.
There's still wheel to wheel!
That is unbelievable.
League of Europe, grow or fade.
Good evening everyone and welcome to round number 12 of the League of Europe. We are here of course for Division 3 as always. My name is Jacob, of course taking you through this as always as well. And joined alongside me it is the majestical, wonderful, lovely Mr. Killer Blue as always. How are you doing this evening, Jake?
I am doing tremendously well. As always, very excited to be here with you. Every week I feel like it's just going so quickly. We're on round 12 already,
Yeah.
just 5 races left. And as we launch into qualifying, worth getting out of the way, we have 2 qualifying bans for 2 drivers who have been much fancied this season. Peter and Car Mentalist starting at the back, so expect to see them coming through the field. Otherwise, I think I can summarise the whole stream very early on by saying Old School 3000 is probably going to get pole, and Old School 3000 is probably going to win. We may as well just end it there, don't you think?
Yeah, may as well just sort of see it there. So thank you very much for watching everybody. We'll catch you next week. No, we'll see. We know that how quick Old School has been around here. He is legitimately Division 1 pace. So I expect him to possibly take the win tonight. I know Chill, his teammate has been saying, well, he's been also bigging himself up with this track as well. So I'm intrigued to see how Chill is going to do, especially if he's hyping himself up as much as he is. But yeah, both of the Hasses, I'm expecting those guys to do very, very well. And like Jake said as well, 2 people have qualifying bans. One of them being the Dutchman of Peter, and the other one being the relentless driver of Car Mentalist. He's on an outlap just so he can get himself his setup, and then he'll be making his way straight back into the pits and then retiring from the session. So yeah, it's that's really going to shake things up. And alongside with that, there is also a race ban, as you guys have seen last week. Probably one of, if not the craziest ending to a Division 3 race. The 2 leaders colliding. Rudy ended up picking, or was at fault for that one, or was seen to be at fault for that one from the stewards. They gave him some penalty points, which he has now led to the Dutchman having a race ban. So Rudy isn't actually here tonight because of that race ban, and well, that was it makes that very, very interesting for this championship. It just means that Old School's just, and especially considering this is Old School's best track, without a doubt, he's basically just been gifted an extra 25, maybe even 26 points.
Qualifying by Car Mentalist, race ban, as you say, for Rudy. It couldn't be more of an open goal for Old School tonight, could it? He has the division at his mercy. There's no one I can really see who I think is going to challenge him, potentially take points off. Chill would be, I imagine, subservient to Mark in any case, even if he has the pace to challenge him, because it's a no-brainer to give Mark those points. No one else jumps out. Raleigh, we know, doesn't have tremendous qualifying pace. Tin Can, of course, after last week, he is in thereabouts. 2 race wins under his belt this season, both in the rain. I don't think we're going to be seeing any rain today. And Bree, very quick over one lap, but not a wheel track, this one, is it? It's very much favours the pad. So, yeah, open goal for Old School. I can't see anyone competing in this. Car Mentalist makes his obligatory retirement.
Yeah, so, well, I'm kind of intrigued to see, because I want to have a look at what these standings are looking like so far, because I know Old School is the one that is still leading it. and I believe it's about 10 points in total. So yeah, Old School, he is in the lead of this championship. He's on 128 points. Rudy in second with 118. Raleigh is now up into third after picking up 5 points ahead of Car Mentalist last week. He is in third with 109 points. Car Mentalist in fourth with 106. And then Tin Can with that surprise win to his name. Well, he was definitely not expecting it. He is in fifth with 103 points. So he really has thrown himself in the title fight. Bree is in sixth with 96 points. There's quite a few guys all battling for that title. Of course, anyone can still make their way through, but with 5 races left in the season, it's a very, very tall order for those top 6 guys. Obviously, other than tonight, it's a very tall order for those top 6 guys to not score at least a decent amount of points, as well as Old School already on the board, 7 tenths up ahead of his teammate, as his teammate is the one that is in P2 at the moment with a 25.2. Old School, though, he's in a class of his own at this point, a 24.5.
I don't want to be hyperbolic at this point because I always say we've made a habit of calling things far too early. But legitimately, I can't see that time being beaten this session, such as his level of dominance. I mean, 24.5, that's in the upper reaches of what D2 is going to be. I think D2 pole will be around a 0.2 or a 0.3. He's already at a 0.5 on his banker. I don't think it's underselling to say that could be the pole type already. He could come into the pits, retire, and that may well be that. Behind him, it looks much more interesting. We've got Chill on 25.2, as you say. Bree, David, Tin Can, all very close, all within a tenth of each other, 25.4, 25.5, and then the field spreads out a little bit behind them. Not too many competitive laps. I would expect everybody to be under a 26 here. I'd be shocked if we see anybody lapping over a 26. As is, Eduk, Wadrai, Cam K, Giraud, RJ, all set landed laps, none of which particularly competitive. And we've still got a few drivers to set laps, I think.
Ooh.
And who's that's gone third? Tim Mats, or Ecos Mats, as he is now, pops in a 25.3. Very good banker for him.
Yeah, so Tim Mats, yeah, of course, joining the Contest for Speed Academy team, I believe that is. Yeah, he's slotting himself up into P3 again. Still not seen too much of him this season, and hopefully this is actually going to be the race where we may see a bit more from him this season. I know he was saying to keep an eye out on him and Damon, where, I don't know if you had seen it last week, they had quite a bit of a scrap. But, yeah, Tim Mats into P3 already, 25.3 as his banker lap. Yeah, I'm kind of intrigued to see how the rest of the session is going to go down. As you said, Old School, he really doesn't even need to go out again if he didn't want to. I know he will try and want to best that time and maybe, possibly, for his standards, try and get into a 24.2, 24.1, like you said, for the D2 pole. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see if that is going to be the case, if he is able to go ahead and do that. Riding on board with Caesar, he has managed to get into the session eventually. I think he was just a little bit late in joining in. He's actually not on a push lap, so he's just chilling out at the moment. Yeah, not pushing whatsoever. Caesar, though, yeah, he's still within. I suppose, could he technically be still within this fight? He's in 7th with 68 points. It's at least a race win behind Bree. So I don't know if he would technically be in this championship fight, but I mean, if we're talking technical with points, he is still there.
He is. We've got, what's that, 125 points available. So, well, actually, not even that. With fastest laps, we've got 130 points available. So, everyone, I think, is still mathematically in this championship. That will, of course, change after today. With regard to Caesar, though, I'm not too sure. I think he can definitely threaten Bree, Tin Can, Car Mentalist, and Raleigh. I think even if he wins every race, I think he might still struggle to get Old School. Old School just needs some consistent 5ths, 4ths, and I think he'd probably have this covered, assuming other people drop points. As Caesar goes very deep into turn 1 there, didn't hook that up too well. But Peter as well, Peter, Sophia, and the other ones that have shown flashes of great pace. Of course, Caesar does actually have a race win from Australia, but he's not really delivered on some of the pace he's shown, although the game is showing him as purple in Sector 1. I have a feeling that may not actually be the case. I'll have a quick check, because I know Old School, ideally you want to be doing 4s or 3s through Sector 1 here. Caesar has done a 6, so the game is lying to me. He has not gone purple in Sector 1. I think if he can get into the top 8, I think for anybody that's the goalpost here, because frankly it is Old School and 19 other people driving around. He is in a class of his own. So if Caesar can get top 8, if any of those guys get top 8, I think that's a really good platform to build on into the race.
Yeah, no, it certainly is, and not only that as well, I know that Caesar's, well, a bit of an interesting one. I think he's one of the only ones that has actually out-qualified Old School at this track, so, I mean, Caesar, there is an opportunity for him. I know that he also, well, to my knowledge, I believe he uses pad as well, as into P2 he goes, splits the 2 Hasses, so, yeah, for his first lap, and with a bit of a mess-up as well, as Chill also having a little bit of a mess-up coming up the hill, yeah, I think Caesar, he's going to be the one to maybe try and split the Hasses, and maybe, just maybe, could affect Old School coming into the, well, maybe into the race, because I believe he will have the inside into turn 1.
Yes, it is. Pole position is on the outside of the track, so it is on the racing line, but I don't think that makes too much difference to the game. You mentioned Chill having a little wobble at the top of the hill, going in towards turn 13. He did that on his first lap, but he just struggled to hook up those apex. There's a few corners here, that being one of the other downhill hairpin at 8, and again at 10, where it's very easy to go deep. I found it here that I'm understeering into corners a lot more than I would otherwise, and he's having a few scruffy little mistakes on his lap, Chill, but he has gone into second. Last talking about 25-0. Still no one into the 24s. Damon now improves to P3 at 222, 4 thousandths quicker than Caesar. I think the closeness of this from Chill down to, I want to say Raleigh, I think that we're going to see that battle boil over as we get towards the end of the session, because I think there's a front row, and definitely front 2 rows are going for any of those guys. They've all got it within them to get into that top 4.
Yeah, certainly have. We're on board with White Chihuahua, splitting the 2 Williams of Eduk and Tin Can. White Chihuahua, yeah, 5 thousandths of a second behind a fellow Finn of his in P7. I believe these 2 were actually teammates last season as well, so if they're starting where they are, I'm kind of intrigued to see how battle between those 2 will go. Bree is into 6th with the 25.4 and is actually starting his second lap now. A few guys that are also currently on laps. K-Mark just sort of getting out of the way of everybody. I don't know if he's actually got a front wing. Can't see if he has or not. Yeah, as I said, a few other guys that are also on laps. Riley being another one as well. You know, currently sitting P3 in the championship, and I don't feel like we touch on him too much. I feel like Riley is still one of those. He is one of those without a doubt that has consistently scored points, other than at China, where it just did not go his way whatsoever. And well, he's obviously there in 3rd position. He has 1 win, which he picked up at the very beginning of the season. He's now in P6, up ahead of Jeroen. So, again, Raleigh, he's just very consistent across a race distance. It's his qualifying he needs to improve, and at the moment, it's looking like he's making an improvement on it.
He looked really strong through the first 2 sectors. I saw his split, and he lost a couple of tenths to Caesar in the final sector. Otherwise, because he was ahead of Caesar coming through second sector split, that could have been 3rd or even 4th for Raleigh. So he just dropped the ball a little bit on the last couple of corners. I said all season long, he's solid, isn't he? But he's unspectacular in the way he goes about his work in this league. And but his qualifying is gradually getting better through the season, because he was struggling for top 10 at the start. And now we are seeing him up there, and that was a really good lap. Again, if he hooks that Sector 3 up on his final run, he can easily match Bree, and I think he would have matched Bree's 25-1 had he done that final sector. But yeah, he's... A lot of people don't really want to mention him in the title fight, because he doesn't have the same 1-lap pace as Old School, as Bree, or even as Carventless. But you can't write him out. He does a tremendous job, and he's certainly been one of my favourite drivers this season, because he just gets the job done. He doesn't make mistakes, he doesn't crash, he doesn't bottle, he just goes about it and he gets it done, and he's one of my drivers of the season, definitely.
He kind of reminds me of Mr. XL Zadama in terms of qualifying. Usually is not the case that it can go his way, But when it comes to the race, if he keeps it nice clean on the track, he'll get a result out of it, and that's exactly what he's been doing pretty much all season long. That's how he got his win in Austria. Like he kept it cool, he played it nice and calm, and in the end it paid off, and he ended up taking that win. He's had a second place in Canada, again a similar situation where Bree ended up taking a win in that, and then a podium at Australia and a podium at Japan as well, all again from the same thing. So yeah, as I said, it's just about him keeping it cool, calm and collective, and at the moment in P7, it's not a bad result for him. I am riding on board now though, with our current pole sitter of Mr. Old School, and he is on a lap, purple through Sector 1, almost a 10th up on his time. So you're saying no one's going to improve on that time there, Jake? Well, I think Old School might just be able to prove you wrong.
He looked absolutely on rail to Sector 1. Every apex was inch perfect. Turn 4 was beautiful as you like, perfectly kissed the inside curb. Same again through 10. You don't want to ride that curb too much because it can slow the car down on exit, cause at the rear to bottom out. And now just running wide through 11. Oh, again, hooks that up sweetly, just kissing the white line almost on the inside, but not taking the inside curb because it can really spin the car out. Same through 12. Let's see, takes a wide line through 13. And unlike his teammate, doesn't understeer too much. And that was beautiful. I don't want to feed Mark's ego any more than it needs feeding, but this is a tremendous lap. Same again, he just hooking up all those apexes, absolutely perfect, not taking too much curb, not understeering either, and it's a 24.35. That is a lap of the season from Old School 3000. Pole by over 7/10 of a second right now, and Chill behind him actually abandoned his last lap as he invalidated. Not too sure where, but that was a lap
to go out
from Old
again.
School.
Yeah, that was insane. That was absolutely insane from Old School. So give yourself a round of applause, because I don't think anybody's going to get anywhere near close to that. I am riding on board with Tim Metz, as I believe he will be the next one across the line to actually complete a lap. Damon just behind him, of course, in P4. Again, Damon, he's one of those ones where he's very quick in qualifying. It's just when it comes to the race, he can never hook it up. And I don't know if it's just because he's got qualifying setups on or time trial setups, sorry. Because it just seems to be over 1 lap pace. He's very quick, but then it's just when it comes to tyres, just in anything, and racing people, he's just, no offence to him, he can't do it.
Any issues he has, I think, are chronic, to put it bluntly. He had pole at Monaco, he had a good qualifying last week, and he's on for a very good lap again this week. We'll see where he is as he comes through the second sector split, but he doesn't have a point to his name this season. I just find that staggering. He's 3/10 up. He's going to get into the 24s here if he doesn't mess up this last corner. He's just got braking, turn-in, throttle to go, and this is going to be a front row, at least provisionally, for Damon. He does go deep, he locks up. That was not a good last corner. We'll see if he hangs on for a 24.
Just
no, 24.03, 25.03, yeah. So, but he goes second nonetheless, and but he's just not doing it in the races. I don't know what it is, if it's a motivation issue, or if he's just not confident in his inputs. I know he switched to wheel recently, Car Mentalists were saying today. So I don't know what it is, but he's just not finding it. He got pole at Monaco, and Monaco is a special case as a track, but I find it astonishing that someone as quick as Damon can get to round 12 with not a single point. It's bizarre.
Certainly is, and that's exactly what I was thinking as well. I'm really surprised at the fact he has not gotten any points to his name so far this season. But at the moment, riding on board with Mr. XLT Mechanicals, last week's race winner. Probably wasn't expecting that win last week. 2.5 tenths up on his time is going to put him just outside of the top 10, and then he invalidates, as I was saying that. So Tin Can, very, very unfortunate for you, my friend, but well, P11 is going to be the best you're starting. And that's if nobody else ends up beating that time, and it's very, very close actually from Damon all the way down to K-Mark from the looks of things. So it all split just in under a second, and then you've got of course RJ and Camke, who are now on their laps as well, so they're going to have some improvements on that. Jarry as well, he is on a lap, but I'm assuming he'll probably slow down at the end of it like he normally does and start from the back and just make his way up through the field. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see how he is going to fare on. I'm just looking to see who's going to be the first one to come across the line, though. It looks like it will be RJ.
Well, just behind him, Caesar was a quarter of a second up through Sector 1. That is very much for 24. He's now 3/10 up. and he doesn't make the same mistake through 13 that Damon did running deep. We'll see where RJ comes across the line first, and he
Ooh.
goes P4 with a 25-1. I think we'll find that Caesar is about to beat that because he didn't run deep, didn't lock up through the last corner like Damon did. Where does he go? 24-8. Finally, we've got someone in the 24. Caesar onto the front row, as you alluded to earlier, J. Cole.
Yeah, White Try also putting in the time into P9. Bree coming across the line, 1,000th off of getting himself into the 24s, but it is P3 at the moment. Jarry does make his way into the pit. Trench makes his way into the pit. There's a Ferrari of Raleigh, P7. So again, decent qualifying for Raleigh. Educ coming up to the line and didn't make an improvement. I think he must have been validated on his lap, but that would have put him in P8. As a couple other guys making their way across the line. Cam K didn't end up improving his time. Jeroen going up into P9, so dropping White Try down into 10th position. And I didn't quite catch who the other one was, but Educ in 11th, and I'm sure that his invalidated lap was probably a little bit of a blessing in disguise for him.
I have to say that qualifying session was much more fascinating than I was expecting. From second down to 12th, it's 7/10, but the gaps are so even, and to run through it old school on pole position as expected by the thick end of half a second from Caesar in the Renault. Bree third, Damon fourth, two wheel users who'll be very pleased with that. Chill fifth, RJ sixth, Raleigh seventh, Ecos Mats or Tin Mats eighth, Jerome ninth, White White 10th. Educ, poor man's pole position of 11th by 200ths of a second from Tinkan. Trench 13th, K-Mark 14th, Camke, the last man to set a lap, and then Peter, car mentalist. Jarry did not set time scores, Peter, and car mentalist with those qualifying bands.
It does fascinate me as to why Jarry doesn't set a lap. It really does, because I feel like he could be up there, maybe challenging for wins. Because seeing his pace in a race, he is pretty quick in a race, but in race pace anyway. So it's quite surprising to me that he's not trying to go for that qualifying to try and get himself up there, and maybe just try and knock one of the top leaders off. I know he probably doesn't want to get involved in the championship battle, but I mean, it's probably not fun. Probably starting at the very back of the race every single week. So, obviously, it's entirely up to him. I'm not saying do a lap. It's up to him. But yeah. So he's starting, of course, at the very back end of the field. The interesting ones is going to be Peter and Car Mentalist, where they're going to be making their way up through the field. How they're going to be making their way up through the field, because it's well, you've seen how tight qualifying was, Jake. It's going to be difficult to split everyone apart.
Yeah, there's literally, it's a 10th here, a 10th there between everyone, it feels like. And I think Peter, we've seen he's had some very good first laps this season. It wouldn't surprise me if we see him in 12th, 13th, 11th at the end of lap one. I'm intrigued what tires people are going to go for, because I've heard Aidan, the car mentalist, say that he is tempted to go medium soft here, which is an interesting one, and I'd be very surprised if he can make it work. Tyre wear here is quite high, and the rears, when they go off, they really do go off from underneath you. It's very easy to drop it. Educ and Trench on the mediums, outside top 10. Everyone else going for hard, so I don't want to be a doomsday sayer, but if there's any wind damage, if there's any carbon fibre flying about lap one, they are going to be, well, to put it lightly, they're going to be screwed. What have you seen, J. Cole?
So, Caesar joined in late in the grid. He's not starting in second. He's starting at the back of the grid.
Oh my word! Indeed, you're absolutely right. That is heartbreaking. I'm not surprised from Codemasters, but that is heartbreaking. And it means we've got an old school Bree front row for the God knows how many time this season. But yeah, that is heartbreaking for Caesar.
It is indeed, especially 24.8. He was the only other person to get in the 24s and possibly look to challenge old school. Well, Bree, you got to do something at the beginning, I suppose, or Damon. It's got to be one of those two, because I don't think Chill will try and fight it. He wants to win, but I don't think he's going to try and fight it. I think he's just going to let old school just get away as much as he can. But Bree and Damon, it's also down to those two to put a stop to old school and this dominance that he's about to have around Bahrain. Everyone's expected him to take the win. He's in the killer instincts, he's in Jav's judgments, and I feel like he might actually get this one right for a change. So, yeah, again, it's all dependent, of course, if there's a late safety car or if there's anything else that could possibly happen in the race. It could be in the case old school gets a little bit too not cocky, but gets a little bit too, feels a bit too comfortable to the point where he ends up actually just, well, having a spin where he doesn't expect it, and then, well, that's done for him. So, I don't know. I'll still say
the only person
he's still 100% winning.
Yeah, the only person who could stop Old School winning this race, as you allude to, is Old School. I don't think there's anyone else who can take this away from him, apart from himself, whether it's bottle or arrogance or showboating. I don't think he'd dare do that. He loves Bahrain too much for that, but I think he's the only one who can take this win away from him.
100%. So we've now just gotten Caesar, who's lined up at the back of the grid. Very unfortunate for him because he qualified in P2, but we're now just waiting for these 5 red lights to make their way out. And here we go. So we've now got the 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 red lights. We're here for, of course, round 12. Very, very quick off the start. It's lights out and away we go. Damon had an absolute shocker of a start. Tim Mats has already gotten past him and already gotten past Chill. Tim Mats already up in the 3rd position and maybe even trying to challenge Bree. Trying to go down the inside of turn number 1, but Old School does manage to hold it. Tim Mats up in the 3rd, holding off Chill in P4. So Chill now down in the 4th position. Tim Mats, sorry, actually didn't end up getting a jump. It was RJ that actually got a very, very good start, already up in the P3. And you can already see Damon also trying to maybe challenge down towards turn 4 on Tim Mats. These two having an absolute scrap last week, and Damon already around, and that is one already for the Division 3 bingo. And then here we go, we've also got Trench, who's on medium tyres, by the way, in 6th position, challenging Chill already, as White Try Wise also trying to get a move done on Vapor Trench, but cannot seem to get that move done. Jerome holding it around the outside of Raleigh. Raleigh not having a very good start as the 2. Williams down 11th and 12th, also having a bit of a battle, but Old School, well, already almost a second up ahead of Bree at the beginning. RJ and Tim Mats, both of the Alfa Romeos, had a blitzing start.
I was on board with the midfield through the start while you were covering the front, and the 2 Williams came to blows, not once at turn 1, but twice, as you said, through turn 8. And now Peter, who'd had a very good start, went a little bit deep through 11, and he's given a place up to Raleigh, around the outside Raleigh. I think he lost a couple places on the start. He's got one back. Sorry, that was Jerome, not Peter. And K-Mark had a half spin. Tin Can as well had a moment coming out of turn 8, which I said. But yes, a perfect start for Old School and cracking start from the 2 Alfa Romeos, 3rd and 4th at the end of the lap. And as you said, Vapor Trench, P6 on the mediums. What can he do from this race? Because those softs, especially the rears, will start to go off. There's a chance for Vapor Trench, if he fancies some overtaking, of getting up and amongst the podium places here, because I think he'll fancy his chances of being quicker than Chill, Mats and RJ. So yeah, huge opportunity there for the Mercedes driver.
Yeah, 100%. He's going to have, as you said, the massive undercut, or overcut, sorry, come towards the end of this race. These softs will start to die off maybe around lap 6, lap 7. So I'm intrigued to see how that's going to flow when they do die off, and if Trench sort of stays within this group, well, Trench could be a bit of an underdog here for getting himself a podium. I believe he already has 1 podium to his name, which was at Russia earlier on in the season. So he's looking for a 2nd podium for this season, and well, he could very well be getting it. As I said, a late safety car can or a safety car, if all of the guys on the sauce have already pit, that would put Trench at a massive advantage then.
If things go his way, as you say, he could take a huge advantage from this, and K-Mark is around at the back.
Oh, he's just smashed himself.
And there's another Division 3 bingo for you, and if that had caused a safety car, I can tell you, he would be getting a hefty penalty for that. He's got half a front wing, or barely a front wing, flapping around out there. And Chill, I was about to say Chill and Tim Mats look like the closest battle on track, and Chill into the last corner makes a move on Tim Mats, and that could be a crucial move in helping his teammate out up front. So he can get amongst RJ, get amongst Bree, he can really hold and slow those guys down and give his teammate even more impetus to get away, because, well, it's already 2 seconds after 2 laps, but I think Old School wouldn't complain if his teammate gave him a chance to extend that lead even further, just to cover himself against any safety cars or any dramas that might happen.
The only disadvantage for that, though, is that if Chill does start holding up everybody else, well, you've got Trench on those medium tyres that's in that group with him, so Trench is then going to be, he's probably going to be licking his lips that everybody else will be sort of held up as much, and then Trench, or whoever, a fresher set of hards when he goes towards the end, or if he tries to do the car mentalist strat, as in fact car mentalist went on the set of the hards, so he realised he couldn't do the medium for soft, as Damon has actually gotten past his teammate, interestingly enough. But yeah, as I said, Trench is probably going to go for a set of hards at the end of his stint. He's on the cusp of losing his DRS to Tim Mats, but he's doing very well to keep a hold of him And Trench, as I said, he's definitely one that can possibly be an underdog to get himself on this podium. He'll have the freshest set of hards when he goes on them. It just depends on how everybody else is going to play it out when it comes towards the end of the race, because those hards will go off, as that is a spinner, and that is another one for the bingo once again. It's Damon the second time now this race, unfortunately for the Dutchman, who qualified, of course, in P4. He is now, well, down into P17. K-Mark come out of the pits as well, and he is on the set of mediums, 38 seconds behind Damon as well. Yeah, Old School already 2.5 seconds up ahead of Bree in 4 laps. It's just ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
Will Damon ever score a point in League of Europe Division 3 this season? I can't see it, because just the amount of mistakes and spins and penalties that we see from these two at the back is staggering. I won't be too harsh on them on the stream, but they are having somewhat farcical seasons. But so where are Spartans at the track? Tell you what, Bree doesn't look too common, does he? Although Chill has a little moment outside. We've got Raleigh is round. He's dropped it out of the downhill chicane of 6 and 7, and Kamke and Jarry just right behind him, almost come to blows themselves. I was about to say, actually, we need to give a shout out. I said Peter gets good starts. Peter up 6, and Caesar, not mentioning him after starting last, but he's up 8 places already, and second highest hard run. A great start for him, but that is awful stuff for Raleigh. And could that be the end of his championship challenge right there? As Kamke goes for it into turn 11. That is not usually never taken place. It's hardly any braking zone. Raleigh has massive damage, though. He concedes the place. And Jarry is through as well. That's going to have to be a pit stop for Raleigh.
Well, I was talking about how well Raleigh was doing in races, and I feel like I might have just jinxed him ever so slightly, because now he's down in 16th position, and, well, unless there is a safety car, it's not looking like he is going to be getting any sort of points for tonight, which is very unfortunate for him. And that was going to set him back, as you said, in the championship. Was just running on board with Peter and Caesar, because these two, as you said, they're on the hards. It's full of leading hard runner, and Caesar is the one that's now up ahead of Peter. So P9 and P10 on the hards. This is where things are going to get a bit interesting, because these guys as well, not only could Trench play a part, but these guys will go on a set of mediums, maybe even a set of the softs towards the end of their stint, as Carmentalis picks up a 3-second time penalty already on lap 5. Bahrain is not usually known for penalties.
That is extremely costly for him. I was about to say how close he looked to catching Bree. RJ, 80% ERS, Bree under 20. He was derating down the main straight, but RJ had a massive slide through turn 8. He's got another one through 10. I don't know if Chill hit the back of him, but it's put him out of DRS range, and now he's weaving down straight, trying to break that slipstream from Chill. Penalty for Damon. Mark off your D3 bingo. Here goes Chill down the inside of 11. He pinched it, got pinched right up against the curb. He tried to force his way through. RJ had enough speed around the outside to carry that, but that has been 2 costly errors from RJ. He had a chance to take second from Bree. He had the airs advantage, and now he is out of DRS range, and he's given Bree enough space to breathe. Is Chill going to go for another move, though, into the last corner? He passed Mats on the last corner of lap 1. He's going to have another look on lap 5. There's nothing doing there, but I think this is going to be a straightforward overtake now for the Hassman. He's going to make up another place. We've got another yellow flag at the back, but that is Damon yet again. And here we go. Here's Chill down the inside of RJ, and well, that was a torrid lap for RJ, and he's lost another place.
Trying to stick it around the outside, but no, he's just having to give up that position. Yeah, I mean, when you were saying that about him having a slide, it was actually Chill who did hit the back of him. RJ giving that little weave to Chill, you know, I'm assuming in anger, because of Chill hitting the back of him. But RJ now down in the 4th position, now off of the podium. Well, we could very well be seeing for the first time this season a Haas 1-2 if Chill can make that gap back up to Bree, as Damon has retired from the session.
Well, that was I think, frankly, the worst 6 laps I've seen from any driver in LOE this season. I was on board with Tim Mats there. He had a similar slide to his teammate through turn 10. Only this time Red Trench didn't hit him, but the back end of that Alfa Romeo, I know we're on equal cost, but both drivers struggling a little bit as these soft tyres start to go off. They will be feeling it now. The rear tyres will be on towards 50-60%, maybe a little bit less than that, but not looking too happy are the 2 Alphas, because Chill has broken past both of them, and Bree derating well before the last corner. He'll get a little bit back now, but Chill has got enough to fight here that I think he could pass Bree to turn 1, if not certainly turn 4, because Bree, look at that D rating coming across the DRS line, not even the start and finish line. RJ, first soft runner to pit. Chill's going to close up the back, not close enough on this occasion, but I think, J. Cole, you'll agree, it's a matter of time before we see Haas first, Haas second here in Bahrain.
Well, say a matter of time. Bree once again deracing. He's Chill unfortunately not going to be close enough going in. It was turn 4 unless he absolutely lunges one up the inside, but no lunging is to be done from the other Haas driver. Yes, Bree, it is a matter of time. Unless he can manage to save his ERS a bit more, then it is going to look like Chill and Old School will have their first 1-2 of this season. Yeah, as you said, RJ came into the pits. He's actually gone on a fresh set of medium tyres. So RJ, he's going for the 2-stop strategy tonight. There's no way he can take those mediums to the end of the race unless you're an absolute psycho. Yeah, it's going to be a 2-stop for the Alfa Romeo driver, which could play in his favour, I suppose, come towards the end of the race again. He would need maybe a safety car to come out, in order for him to at least get a free pit stop on everybody else, and then he'll be on a set of medium tyres anyway, so he will at least have a bit more of an advantage. But at the moment, it's looking like RJ, unfortunately for him, could well have sort of thrown away a little bit of a decent chance of some good points for the Alphas tonight.
Yeah, I was about to say I think you're being too kind on him. I have no idea why he's put mediums on. I'll be blunt, I think that was a strategy boo-boo as Chill comes in and Tim Matz follows him. So both coming in, I expect both will go to hard. Lap 7 is earlier than I was expecting. I thought we'd see most people in 8 or 9. It's going to be mediums for Tim Matz as well. So both Alfa Romeos go in mediums. I'm tempted to say both Alfa Romeos have just thrown away points. And yeah, should also go mediums. I wasn't expecting anyone to try and two-stop this race, certainly given, well, we didn't see a Spain race in the dry last week, so I can't comment on that. But yeah, I thought everyone just go soft hard. I thought it was straightforward, soft hard, or medium hard, or hard soft. I didn't see any room for a two-stop. Frankly, the pit lane is too long. You lose too much time in the pit lane here to make it worth it. It's not like Spa or Monaco where the pit loss is 16, 17 seconds. So yeah, at this early stage, I think those guys have thrown away some really good points here. I mean, RJ is ahead of Chill at the moment, but of course, RJ, you say, have to pit again. Chill does not. So I think the math is quite simple there, but we shall see, J. Cole, we shall see.
No, we certainly shall see very, very soon. Trench, look how much he's now caught up to the back of Bree. He was about 2 seconds behind him at the beginning of this lap. He's now within DRS of the Maltese driver as Old School into the pits, Bree into the pits as well. So Trench will be your leader of this race at this point, and I'm assuming we'll see White also make his way into the pits. Yep, the Finn coming in as well. So surprisingly, we didn't see anybody actually speeding in the pits. So job well done to all of those guys. But yeah, so Trench is now going to inherit the lead of this race, and Caesar in second position. He completely dropped Peter as well. Both of those guys, I remember at the beginning of this race, are battling for that P9 position, and now, well, Caesar is well off it. Someone's gone well off. That was Tinkan. Tinkan out of the race. I don't know what happened there. I think he must have caught a massive bit of oversteer and got a virtual safety car.
If that was a safety car, my heart skipped a beat then. I thought we'd spoken too soon. Vapor Trench was about to take the lead of this race, but no, it's not. I don't think it's going to last all the way around the pit straight, but that was very bizarre. I think he must have just got too much curve, got too excited with the happy pedal going through turn 2 and turn 3, and I think he just dropped it. I think it's just as simple as he got on the throttle too soon. Did Tinkan out of this race, joins Damon in the pits. So that doesn't do anything for anyone really, does it, that VSC? Unless it hangs around long enough. But no, we're back under green flag conditions. And, well, we've got Chill and Tim side by side through turn 10. Chill just hanging on to the net third place from Tim Matz. I think Tim Matz was trying to make the most of his mediums. He needs to get past Chill. He wants to do anything with those tyres. And Bree just keeping a watching brief on all of these. He's lost out by staying out. And this is going to give Old School, I think he'll be rubbing his hands together. No, and the guy behind him is on a 2-stop. The guy behind him is his teammate. The guy behind him is on a 2-stop. And then you get to Bree, who's not actually competing with him on the same strategy. So this is played very well into Old School's hands here.
I was saying it was probably going to be a Haas 1-2. Well, technically now it is a Haas 1-2 as Timmat's now DRS open, overtake on for the Dutchman, trying to get the move done down the inside of the Haas driver of Mr. QVR Chill. Going down the inside, Timmat's in towards turn 1. I think that's as easy as you can probably get. Timmat's now up in the P10. He will get the DRS off of his teammate, but it's just who gets a better exit. It looks like Chill may have gotten a little bit of a better exit, but Timmat's utilising his overtake, making sure he stays up ahead of the Haas driver. So Timmat's now up into 10th position. RJ up into 9th. It doesn't look as if he's really catching Old School, surprisingly. Old School on those hard tyres, of course, you know, considering that he beat Caesar by nearly 5/10 of a second, you're going to expect Old School to be just absolutely flying, but you would have thought on a softer compound, RJ would maybe start to reel in Old School ever so slightly, but it doesn't even look as if he's doing that. If anything, Old School looks like he's dropping him.
Yeah, the gap it's grown by 3/10 already on this lap. I wonder though, you know, if we could see a China situation here where Old School catches up to the back of Camke, catches up to the back of Jarry, he's only 3.9 seconds off them, and finds his progress swiftly halted until those guys pit, which will give RJ, Timmat's and Chill and Breed a chance to close in, because, you know, not enough perhaps to overtake, but at least enough to breathe down his neck and put some pressure on him, because right now he is completely unthreatened. I think the only thing that can disrupt his race is those hard runners in front of him or another safety car, but Tin Can didn't cause one, so he'll breathe a sigh of relief for that. But yeah, I think Cam K, Jarry and Carl Mentelis could definitely disrupt Old School here and give those behind him a chance to catch up.
Thought I was going to see Tim Mas go for an absolute send on his teammate going down in towards turn 1, but no, he thought better of it. RJ still remaining in P9 or that net P2 at this present moment. Of course, when they do make their second pit stop, then that's of course going to change from a net P2, but they will still at least have, or they'll be on those set of medium tyres, so not a bad thing towards the end of the race. But yeah, as I said, they're really just bargaining, I suppose, on a safety car coming in, or coming out, sorry. Old School, 3.4 seconds out behind Cam K and Jarry. Those two guys, of course, battling there for P6 at this present moment, but Trench still holding on that lead. It's getting away from Caesar from the looks of things. I think Caesar... Oh no, sorry, Caesar's actually gaining on him.
RJ went very deep into turn 10, completely missed his braking point, missed the apex by a mile, and Chill had half a look up the inside, but running deep actually gave Timmat's, oh sorry, did I say RJ? I meant Timmat's, the opportunity to get a straight line, and he got a better run down straight, but big mistake from Timmat's there, nearly lost the position to Chill. Sorry, Jake, as you were.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, Timmat's really... well, he's doing everything he can just to try and help his teammate out, but his teammate just cannot seem to get into that groove of catching up to Old School already. Like 3 laps on those medium tyres. Yes, they are a little bit older than what Old School's hards are, but these mediums should be outclassing those hard tyres. And at the moment, he's lost 4/10 in this lap alone. So RJ, well, very, very unfortunate for him, but I feel like once he's made his second pit stop, I don't think there's any sort of recovering from it unless a safety car comes out. At the moment, it doesn't look as if it will. Chill, still just trying to go for a move onto Tim Mats for that P10 position or a net 3rd position, but still not being able to get any sort of move done. Caesar, I was about to say that he is starting to lose time to Trench, but it's the complete opposite. He was actually 4 seconds behind Trench. He's now only 2.3, and that gap is just closing on a constant basis. Of course, Trench, Educ, they're going to probably make their pit stop either this lap or the next lap to go on a set of the hard tyres. They will at least have a bit of a fresher set of hard tyres than what the guys did on this set of the softs, but yeah, as I said, Trench, Educ possibly going to make their pit stop soon. Those mediums are starting to go off. You can really see it. Caesar trying to hound the back of Trench.
Yeah, Trench has to pit this lap or next because he's going to start losing time. He's already losing time now to Bree. Even this battle between RJ, Tim Mats, Chill, Bree, it's not holding them up enough. They're still catching Trench. So, I mean, Trench might not necessarily know that, but he needs to come in because he's given himself more work to do. And with this being, Educ does come in, with this being a DRS train, there's really no clear way, at least until RJ, Tim Mats pit, for Vape Trench to try and pick his way through this, because we're not seeing Tim Mats, RJ, they are swapping places. As Tim Mats goes down the inside of RJ, RJ very generous with the amount of room he left his teammate and then backs out through 2, but that gives Chill a good run through 3 up the hill, and they're side by side down towards 4. Tim Matt's given his teammate slipstream, but it's not enough. Chill has the surplus of airs to overtake, but he goes so deep into 4, and RJ just comes back at him. Easy as you like. Chill is going to hang this out around. I'm wincing at this. You don't want to go side by side with 6 and 7. And, RJ has the inside for 8. Chill will try to cut back all he likes, but turn 10, not an overtaking race. You don't want to try and get 2 Formula 1 cars through here. And if Chill tries it, he's a madman, and sensibly. He doesn't try it, but RJ making that mistake, going deep again. These overtakes are coming from the driver's own mistake. The original change of position came from Chill's mistake at 4, and they nearly swapped again because of RJ's mistake at 10. They need to find some rhythm, these guys, otherwise they're just giving up time to Vapor Trench. Trench has pulled out a good half a second, 0.6 of a second this lap, and Trench does come in now, but that was costly for all drivers involved there, particularly Chill because he was the one that lost a position, but very costly overall in terms of the time.
Yeah, I mean, Tim S is now 4.1 seconds behind Old School. Old School starting to reel in the back of Cam K, the back of Jerry, the back of Commentalist. So you could be right here, Jake. It could be another China situation with Old School. Hopefully he's obviously able to get some moves done, but Jerry's also trying to go for a move on Commentalist in towards turn 1. Backs out of that one, but and is not going to have the run coming out of it, so Commentalist remains in that P3 position. Cam K, though, maybe trying to go for a bit of a move on the McLaren driver, but nope. Does remain behind him for now, and there you can see in the background there, that was Old School, very very close of course to this little train for P3, P4 and P5. Yeah, it is literally going to be a resemblance of what happened at China. It's a bit of deja vu, honestly. Carl Mentalist and Jerry are going to be the ones that are holding up Old School. If a safety car comes out, well then that's also helped Caesar and Peter massively in that as well, but at the moment, yeah, Caesar is now going to be our leader of this race, where he ended up starting at the back, even though he qualified in P2. But yeah, still right on board of this battle here for P7 with Tim Mats, RJ, Chill and Bree. This time it's looked a little bit better from the 2 Alfa Romeos. They've managed to keep Chill behind without Chill having to go on a bit of an aggression. It's looking like these medium tyres for them are now starting to sort of come into their own. It's looking like RJ is looking a little bit more comfortable on it, but Tim Mats especially looking very, very comfortable on these medium tyres. I'm intrigued to see how much he may start to maybe gain onto the back of this train for P3 as Old School, well, he's now included in this train.
Just a little bit further back, I'll tell you what was very crucial is Vapor Trench got out ahead of Giron, who is on the medium tyres and will have to pit again and probably would have been a little bit quicker than Vapor Trench just to start with. So the fact that Trench got out ahead of Giron is essential for his race because he doesn't have to waste his time trying to get past the AlphaTauri. He can get straight back onto the back of Bree, and he is closing in on this battle a lot. The gap is just 1.6 seconds. The more they fight, the more Trench is going to reel him in, and he is going to be in the best position because as soon as those Alfa Romeos pit for another set of mediums, it's going to be Chill, Bree and Trench in a battle for the last 2 podium spots. So, yeah, crucial that Trench got ahead of Giron. And in the meantime, if I was Alfa Romeo, I wouldn't waste my time trying to overtake each other. Just get the quickest one out in front and let them drag everyone else along. Don't try and overtake each other. Because if Tim Mats is quicker, let him drive the pace. If it's RJ, let him do it. Don't try and fight because they'll just end up costing themselves even more. Because really, they're in a fight with the guys ahead of them. They're in a fight with Cam K, Jarry, Commentalist, Peter and Caesar. The ones in front of them who are yet to pit, who they're in that battle with. And we said about it, Old School now right onto the back of Cam K. Although Cam K, I think, even with DRS, could be dispatched quite quickly. And I think Old School's going for it into the last corner here. Yes, he is. Cam K was derating. That was about what I was about to say. Old School saw his move, has a big slide out of the last corner, and Cam K chops across him, comes into the pits. That was nearly an airplane crash twice. I'm not sure how close Old School was to the back of Cam K, but that was so nearly an airplane crash between the 2 of them. Jarry having a look at Car Mentalist as well. But my word, Old School's nearly out of the race twice then.
Chill's now actually got past RJ as well,
terrifying.
Down in P8. Chill getting that move done. He's now got the other Alfa Romeo that he needs to try and dispatch of Tim Mats. These medium tyres now I think are starting to go off, but yeah, Old School definitely a massive Code Brown moment, and well, I don't think Cam K was expecting that either because he literally completely chopped across him. That could have been, if Old School was a couple of metres in front, that could have been, well, that would have been the end of Old School's race, and a Cam K would have been, well, 100% at fault for it. So, yeah, I think it was it was definitely something. It was very, very close as Jarry pulling off over to that left-hand side. I don't know if it's the case he's letting Old School through. It looks as if he is. So we're not going to have a reenactment of China, but we are going to see Carmentis versus Old School around here. And, well, this battle for the championship is between these two guys, but Carmentis still hasn't made a pit stop yet. Whereas Old School, of course, has this vapor, as K-Mark, sorry, getting a 5-second penalty for cutting a corner. And, well, he's gone round once again.
I wonder if Jerry did that because he fancies using Old School as a means to get past Car Mentalist. And he can stay close enough to Old School, but Car Mentalist is coming into the pits actually. But he'll have DRS. If he can get a really good lap in here, use all his errs, make the most of DRS, could Jerry overcut Car Mentalist, even doing versus Fresh Medium? It's a stretch, but
there's a possibility.
He's got it in him. It's a possibility. I mean, he's got the DRS. Which Carmentis didn't have down the first straight and then again down the second one, so that will be a chunk of time for Jarry, but we shall see. Where does Carmentis feed out? He's actually side by side with Kamke. Kamke just stays ahead of him, and well, that was not what Carmentis needed, because he's still bottled up behind that Renault.
We was actually up ahead of the Renault before the pit stop, so the Renault getting the undercut on Carmentis, and I suppose that's going to be the indication of the guys that are on the hards now to make their pit stops. Jarry could be a little bit under threat here, and Kamke and Carmentis are probably going to get the undercut on him. Jarry, though, he's sort of just driving his own race at the moment. Tim Matt's just still trying to hold off Chill down in that P6 position, and at the moment he's doing a very, very good job of that. But Tim Matt's, of course, and RJ will need to make their second pit stop soon, probably within the next 3 to 4 laps. They will need to make their second pit stop. They may even try and go for a set of softs to the end. It is doable, but yeah, I'm kind of intrigued to see what tyres they're going to go on, whereabouts they will come out once they make that next stop. As Peter, Caesar, both in, so Old School will now inherit that lead once again. And of course Jarry down in 4th, he is now also making his way into the pits. Caesar, set of mediums, Peter, set of mediums, and I'm assuming we'll also see Jarry go on a set of mediums. So that is everyone's stops done, I suppose, other than the 2 Alfa Romeos, which unfortunately for them, well, they're going to need to make that second pit stop, despite them being in 2nd and 4th position.
Tell you what I was surprised at is Vapor Trench hasn't caught up to Bree, despite being on tyres that are some way younger. They're 5 laps younger, his hards, than Breeze, and he's not. And the Alfa Romeos don't look too quick. I mean, their mediums could be very second-hand by now. So I'm really surprised that Vapor Trench isn't joining this battle. I thought he'd walk up to the back of it, but it's not happening. The gap has stayed about around 1.5 seconds since he's come out of the pits, actually. So that is interesting. I thought we were going to have a really tasty battle between Chill, Bree and Trench, but if Trench can't catch up, then perhaps not. Perhaps we are going to just see Chill and Bree and Trench in that order as it is now, and Caesar getting past White Hawaii into turn 11. Again, not really no taking place because of how short the braking zone is, but very nicely done from the Indian man.
He's up into 8th now. He's got Jerome just in front of him, a second behind, of course, the Dutchman, the reserve driver, in 7th position at the moment. Caesar, we can't count him out for not getting a podium. We said this about Trench, and yeah, you're right, Trench, he hasn't particularly caught up, and look, he's derating as well, so he's been trying to catch up, as Tim Matt said, go into the pits for his second stop, but he's been trying to catch up to this group, and well, unfortunately for him, he just hasn't been able to get or move his way up towards that group, and he's sort of laid it around 1 to 1.5 seconds behind. So realistically, Trench is going to be put on the back foot even when he catches up to the train with no ERS to his name. Caesar going to go for a move on Jerome now down in towards turn 4, side by side with him down for P6. Jerome's obviously going to need to make another pit stop as well. Issues here, like Caesar up into 6th position now. 3 seconds separates him and that group, all battling up there for P2 with RJ, with Bree, with Trench. Caesar, technically, he's a net 5th position.
He's a man on a mission this season. He's been an outstanding drive for him. And Trench, he wasn't just derating down the straight, he was on 0% deployment for half the length of the straight. Not just derate, 0%, which I think I've never been on 0% in this game. He is using overtake out every single corner, and he is finally now catching up to Bree. The gap is actually less than a second, but as you say, he's not going to be able to do anything with it. Bree is Actually, no, Bree is in exactly the same boat as him when it comes to Urs. They are both on, well, literally nothing as we come towards the last corner. Trench is making no effort to save it. He's literally just spamming it out of every corner and hoping it does something for him. RJ Pitt. So this is now the full running order. It's Old School from Chill, who's broken away from Bree, and we've got a K-Mark who's crashed. He's got a 10-second penalty.
Riley as well.
Did that on purpose, and we've got a virtual off coordinated retirement from the Ferraris, a VSC. That will be music to RJ's ears. Will he get out ahead of his teammate because of it? I wonder if he might do, you know. They're going to be very close to turn one, and not quite. He just has to back out of it, but Timmats does hold on. But yeah, both Ferraris retiring on the same lap at the same time. I'm amazed we didn't get a full safety car out of that, because if we did, boy oh boy, would I be rubbing my hands together if I was Caesar.
Jarry getting a drive-through under the virtual safety car for speeding. So, well, the Dutchman, well, it's only going to cost them 2 places, but I mean, that's now 2 places. Oh, that's a place for both of the Alfa Romeos, and Timmats will be back into the points. So, at least that's a bit of good news for Timmats getting himself into the points. I think Jarry is just actually letting them through at this present moment. But yeah, Trench is close to the back of Bree now, and of course for this final podium position. Chill, by the way, he's catching up to his teammate. He was about 4.5 seconds. He's now 3.8. So Chill, not only is it a Haas 1-2, Chill wants. He said it before the race. He wants this win. He really wants this win, and he looks like he's going to try and gun for it. But this P4 position here, or P3 shall I say, Bree just sort of swerving left to right, making sure he tries and drops the toe on him. Trench going for the move down the inside and towards turn 1. A bit of a lunge from the Mercedes, but with how turn 1 is, he got that and stuck that very, very nicely. And now Bree going to try and maybe go for a move on Trench going towards turn 4. Trench pulls away over to the right, but Bree does not follow. And Bree, well, down in the 4th position now, the racing point. He's going to have Caesar on his tail very, very soon. Trench is now into a podium position, and the only one he really needs to worry about, realistically, is Caesar.
I think Caesar can get second here. I think he's perfectly within himself that he can get a second. As you say, Chill is matching Old School's pace. And if there was Supercar last couple laps, I wouldn't even put it past Caesar winning this race, because he's in the best tyres. He's in the best position right now. In terms of his absolute performance. There's Peter, he's close to White or Ryan. I expect Peter to make similar progress. But other than those two, no one is really on the move right now. It's quite spread out. We've got this battle of Caesar hunting Bree, hunting Trench. Trench already pulled away from Bree since turn 4 by some distance. Both their Earth is still on the brink. Not for Caesar though. He's on 50%. And if he catches Bree without a DRS, I'm sorry to say, I think that's Bree's chances of a podium goodbye. And Caesar's actually already snuck into DRS on this lap. So, remarkable progress from Caesar from 18th on the grid after joining mid-qualifying. He is in touching distance of a podium finish here. 2 places from 2 people on much older tyres with no ERS. This has to be Caesar's podium, surely.
It's got to be. It surely has to be. And as you said, there is even that chance of a potential win if there is a safety car, because I think Old School might be a little bit too much out of the reach, but a P2 for Caesar is definitely doable. It did look like Old School dropped about 0.2 of a second to his teammate. In fact, another 0.2 he just dropped to his teammate. So I don't know what is happening with Old School up front. I don't know if he's just making a couple of little mistakes here and there, but he seems to be dropping a little bit of time to his teammate ever so slightly. But here we go. Is this where we're going to see a move go down? It just depends on who gets a better exit. Caesar had a little bit of a shake out of there, but just looking at it, overtake on for the Indian. Trying to go for the move in towards turn 11, so at least he can get that DRS on the Vapor Trench. He's going to try and go down the inside of the Maltese man. Bree does leave him space, but Bree remains up in front, and now that's going to drop, bringing out that DRS to Vapor Trench, which is exactly what Caesar needed. In fact, he might even go for a move down towards turn 13. He touches him, and he gets wing damage, and that is Bree round. Caesar, it was a bit ambitious. I think he is waiting for Bree and allowing Bree to go through, but that was very, very ambitious from the Indian. And now Caesar, well, what would have been a podium for him, and again, we've definitely called it a bit too early. Well, he's now not going to possibly be on that podium. He's gotten that wing damage. Peter could now very well be the one to try and get himself on that podium. A 28.4 fastest lap of the race for the Dutchman.
There was no chance to overtake there for Caesar. I think he just got far too excited, or he just drastically underestimated how much grip and confidence Brie had going into the braking zone. And I'm going to wince again here, because could we see Caesar going for it again in turn 4? He looked sheepish, slowing down out of the corner. He knew that was his fault, and he's not. He'll still be quicker than Brie, I think, with the airs advantage, with the tyre advantage, but you can see the car really washing across the track through 6 and 7. Doesn't want to turn into 8. He hooks the apex up very late. We'll see how deep he goes into 9 and 10, because this is an awful corner at the best of times. And yeah, the car just wants to sail towards the outside curve. Peter already now into DRS on the back of the Indian man. And although Brie isn't pulling away, I did think Brie would just pull away now. I thought he'd have the advantage, but Caesar still seems quicker. And up front, Chill still edging towards his teammate by a tenth or so a lap. 3.5. He did briefly dip under that mark. But I wonder if Old School is just pacing himself. He knows he's got everything under control here. Clearly he's got enough pace in hand to battle back Chill, and I think the top two maybe just in a holding pattern right now till the end of the race. We'll see though. The battle to be at is Brie, Caesar and Peter. And are we going to see a change of position here? I think we are, because Caesar pulls out. He's got the DRS, he's got the airs, and Brie has nothing he can do about that. Brie brakes later. He's got more confidence with a full front wing, and he's actually going to get DRS. Brie, is he on the way back up to Silveria? Caesar has a little slide over the curb of 3. Brie's got no airs. He's only got DRS and slipstream in his favour, and he's too far back to do anything. And, well, I think we're going to see this battle rumble on for the rest of this race.
Yes, Caesar now up at the 4th position. Of course, he was on for that podium, and very unfortunate for him. Well, straight into the back of Brie. Tried to get, as you said, a little bit over-ambitious, and it just did not work for him. So he's now left, of course, half a front wing. Peter, well, the only thing stopping him from getting past Caesar is going to be the fact that Brie is the one, well, it is Brie, really. He needs to get past the racing point quick time to be able to get past Caesar and try and at least catch up to Vapor Trench, because 3rd is still on the cards for him. He's only 3.7 seconds behind is the Indian. So Caesar, as I said, even though he is on, even though he has wing damage, he's on the fresher tyres. He has the ERS advantage. I mean, Vapor Trench, he's only on 8% ERS, but yeah, Caesar, he's still very well capable of catching up to him. He just needs to hope Brie can hold Peter for as long as he can, and he's going to try and hope that try and drag Brie with him to get just at least keep him in DRS. But you can see Brie already derating. Peter, well, he has 20% of ERS to his name. He's using that overtake now on the Maltese man. Straight down the inside he goes, and that's one position done for the Dutchman. He may even try and go for a second one in towards turn 4, as here we go. He's going to have that DRS on Caesar. Caesar, I wonder how hard he is going to try and fight this, because these two guys started in P17 and P18, and they're now in P4 and P5. But yeah, Caesar, they're like, somehow with broken front wing, he got a much better exit coming out of turn 4, and now Peter up in the 5th position. He needs to try and get this move done on Caesar, and this will be an opportunity for him to get himself on the podium.
Just watching behind, there's a very close battle between Eduk and RJ side by side through 2 and 3, and again, RJ's round out of turn 4. I called it late. I didn't see a touch. I think RJ just got on the throttle and Spinella, Sebastian Vettel 2019 style there, but we shall find out, I'm sure, after the race what happened. But it's not worked for those Alfa Romeos, has it? I said it, I didn't think it'd work, and it's not worked. 9th and 12th when it could have been, with a bit of luck, it could have been a double podium finish for both of them. So, yeah, the 2-stop was not the way to go without the safety car. But let's have a look then at this Peter-Caesar battle. Caesar has much more airs than Peter, but also he has
a wing.
No front downforce. Yeah, he has no front downforce going through the last one. You can just see through every apex how much the car just wants to understeer wide and completely run onto the outside curb, and that was straightforward, academic, beautifully done from Peter. Pull out to the right hand side, overtake, move back to the left, take the racing line, claim the apex, beautifully done, into 4th place. 3.2 seconds now off the back of Vapor Trench, but with the best of those tyres behind him. And I'm not sure if with the 3.5 laps we have left, or 3 and 2/3, that Peter is going to get onto the back of Vapor Trench because he needs to come at him by a second a lap and then also overtake him. It's going to be close, and if he does it, I think it'll be the last lap. And out front, check in, Chill, making absolutely zero progress on his teammate whatsoever. In fact, the gap is starting to increase again.
Yeah, I think Old School's just, well, he's on 35% ERS. He's just sort of pushing it a little bit more now. Chill, about to start, well, he is now, of course, derating, as well as Trench. Trench, by the way, he's on low fuel. So, Trench, you know what I mean? I really hope he doesn't lose out for a second podium of the season just because he's run out of fuel. But, I mean, I've seen it happen before. If it happens again, it'll be something, that was for sure. But yeah, Peter's 2.8 seconds. He's not gaining on Vapor Trench for that third position, and now he's going to have Caesar in his DRS. He's going to have the overtake. Sorry, he's got the ERS advantage. He's got the DRS advantage. Don't think the Indian will go for it though. I don't know. He's eyeing it up, but no, he breaks a lot later than Peter does. But yeah, Caesar just remaining behind the AlphaTauri for now. Keeping that P5 position. Peter still in P4 at least. Caesar though does have the DRS once again. He's not going to try and go for any sort of move, but it really feels like Caesar, despite having this broken front wing, is a bit quicker than Peter.
Makes you wonder what he could have done if he didn't have the damage, because I'm sure he would have been past Vapor Trench by this point. And it's only 2.5 seconds from him to Chill. He would have lost time in his battle, and of course, you think he's 9.5 seconds off, 9.25 seconds off the lead. Or sorry, I should say he's 5.5 seconds, better to say, off the back of Chill. And he lost 2.5 seconds, I would say, around about 2-3 seconds, letting Breathe through. So, if he didn't have that, and then you factor in the time he's lost with battling Peter, with battling Bree, losing his, and the just general downforce loss of his front wing, Caesar should be right where Chill is now. And then it's, you can perhaps reach that maybe he might have caught onto the back of Old School, but he certainly would have been second, I think, by this point, Caesar, if he hadn't made that mistake. And it was just a lazy mistake. I mean, he just completely misjudged the confidence Bree had going into the corner, so it was extremely costly. And to be honest with you, watching him on board the last lap, it didn't look like he wanted to overtake Peter. He still looks quite sheepish, feeling bad about that error perhaps. He doesn't seem too inclined to really go for the overtake on the Dutchman.
I think he might actually be buying this up in the last lap. As I say that though, a massive wiggle from the Indians. So yeah, very unfortunate for him. In the background though, there is a bit of a battle going on here for P7. Car Mentalist and YHYY now. Car Mentalist has a 3-second time penalty, so YHYY can just sort of let him go as Peter now picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. So yeah, well, Peter, it's gone from a very good race so far to now, well, a bit of a bad race for him, because he's now going to drop back not only behind Caesar but behind Bree as well. So yeah, a bit unfortunate for Peter. That podium's now definitely off the cards for the Dutchman. It's just, I suppose it's just what it is, isn't it?
Feels like sometimes Peter has a habit of shooting himself in the foot. he always overpromises a little bit with his pace, and the races just don't come together for him quite as well as they should. Not necessarily because he makes stupid mistakes. Sometimes he'll just have little errors like that one. They just prove to be extremely costly. I mean, luckily it's only going to cost him 1 place, but well, it could have been 2 if he gets past Trench. But yeah, he's not had quite the season that I think his pace deserved as Peter, has he? He could have been in that title fight by all rights if he'd performed to his maximum. Obviously, others like Old School have perhaps maximised their pace more, and here does come Caesar back at him through the inside. They'll run it side by side through 2. Caesar very generous with the amount of space he's giving. Is it Peter or Caesar that has DRS? I'm not sure either of them does. Neither has DRS going towards 4. Peter has the confidence. He has the outside line. He has the better downforce with that front wing, and they're going to run it out downhill side by side. Bottas and Rosberg-esque. Caesar just concedes the place. Is he going to look back at 8? No, I don't think Caesar feels brave enough with that front wing to really fight this out in any more corners than turns 1 and turn 4. We'll see. We've got a yellow flag. RJ's round. One of the Alfa Romeos. The 2-stop did work, and it's gone bad to worse for him. But yes, I wasn't expecting Caesar to come back at Peter, but he did, and Peter just holds on.
I could see it was going to happen through that last lap. I was expecting him to try and go for a move, but in the end, it just didn't work out for him. And Peter, well, I think he's going to maintain that P4 on track, but we'll lose that on penalties. But we haven't talked about him at all in this race because he's literally just kept to himself. He kept it quiet, old school. Take yourself, give yourself a bow, give yourself a pat on the back. Honestly, absolutely impressive drive from yourself, and takes the win for round 12. Chill makes that a Haas 1-2 for the first time this season. Trench gets himself on the podium for the second time this season. Caesar, if you did not hit the back of Brie, that could have been yours for the taking, but very, very unfortunate. Still a very good drive though from 18th up to 4th position. Brie in 5th with Peter picking up that penalty on the second to last lap. Only 300th shy of Brie, so very, very close to getting that gap on him. White YY in the end does finish 7th. Tim Matz in 8th, and Car Mentalist, well, not good at all for this championship. He finished in 9th position, so all of the championship contenders, with Tin Can crashing out, with Car Mentalist picking up 9th position, with there wasn't really anybody else that was there to contend. There wasn't anybody. Old school, actually, we said it at the beginning of the race, he had a free 25 points.
It was an open goal, and he didn't miss the tap in, did he? That was straightforward, that was elegant, that was graceful from Old School. That was a fabulous drive, and I think probably he only won by 2.5 seconds in the end, but probably the second best drive I'd say we've seen of the season after Tin Can at Singapore, which to me will take some topping the way he just walked away when the rain came out and played that safety car. But today, Old School did everything he needed to do, and he did it beautifully. I think you can make a compelling case really for any of the top 4 to be driver of the day. Chill, I think, probably deserves more credit than he'd get, given Trench and Caesar's recoveries from their qualifyings. Makes you wonder what could have happened if Caesar didn't get put to the back of the grid by the game. But so to summarise, it's Old School with the win, Chill second, Vapor Trench third from 12, Caesar fourth after starting last, Bree fifth, disappointing race to him after being on the front row. Peter, another great recovery from 15th to 6th, White White 7th, Tim Matz 8th, Carmentalist 9th, Cam K 10th, Sharon 11th, RJ 12th, 13th Jarry, 14th Educ, 15th Raleigh, 16th came up, awful race for Raleigh. Same goes for Tinkan 17th, and Damon in 18th, who qualified third. Will he ever score a point? But that is your Bahrain Grand Prix. Just again, what a race for Old School.
Yeah, he definitely played that to the best of his ability. He didn't put any sort of, it wasn't at fault anywhere. Absolutely anywhere. He at least managed to get the move done on Cam K. I think that was really his only bit of battling was with Cam K when he was making his way back through, and even then he went straight up the inside of him into the final corner. He still had the DRS anyway. He had a bit of a wobble, which then Cam K almost went straight into him, but luckily that was avoided. And yeah, Old School taking the 25 points for tonight. I believe it was Peter that did set the fastest lap, or it might have been one of the soft guys at the back taking the fastest lap of the race. But yeah, that's all she wrote for Bahrain. Of course, Old School on top. It wasn't a surprise. He now then, though, he will go. Just trying to have a look at who actually finished where, because Carmental is finishing 9th and Bree finishing in 5th. He'll gain 10 points. Carmentalist will gain 4. Raleigh DNF'd. Rudy didn't race, or couldn't race. Tin Can DNF'd. It's just, yeah. It was an open goal for Old School. It really was. He's now on 153 points.
It was a perfect race, wasn't it? In every sense, from him personally, and for the championship, and where his other rivals came, it couldn't have gone better for him. But you have to wonder, if Cam K had taken him out of that race, the last few laps with Caesar, Peter, Chill, Vapor Trench would have been mouth-watering, because any of them could have really won that race, and it could have ended in tears for any of them also. And the championship as well would have thrown, well, it would have thrown Bree certainly right back in it, but alas, it didn't go that way, and Old School just about kept front wing. So if it was as close as it looked on stream, then it was millimetres between Cam K and Old School. But for a race that, you know, it had a clear favourite, and the clear favourite went on and dominated it, it wasn't half bad, was it? I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was definitely a good race to watch and a good race to do comms on. But yeah, that was it was a good race to as an overall. It was pretty good. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed that one. But of course, we move on to Zandvoort next week. Again, another track that does favour the pad massively. Do you think Old School once again is going to take that one, or do you maybe reckon Caesar? I mean, last season he was challenging Hardy, and Hardy's now in Division One. So could Caesar and Old School's the other one that was also challenging him. So are we going to see a battle with those two once again for Zandvoort? I mean, it was very unfortunate for Caesar that he came in late, and because of that, because of the glitch from Codemasters, he ended up starting at the back of the grid. Had Caesar started at the front of the grid, he could have won.
We would have seen a proper race, I think, because Chill gave Old School enough of a go as it was in those last 10 laps. So I think if we'd seen Caesar up there, it would have been a proper race. Next week, honestly, I think it will be those two again, because it was the three of them, wasn't it? It was Hardy, Old School, and Caesar were like nose to tail for that
Yeah.
last lap. And then they went at it into the last chicane, and I think Hardy just about came out that one on top after the steward decision. But if we see something as half as close as that next week, where it's more, if we can actually get a race for the win, I would be a happy man indeed.
Certainly will. So, yeah, that has been it for the stream for this evening. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. As I said, we will catch you guys next week, of course, for Zandvoort, round number 13. Make sure you guys do tune into Division 2 and Division 5, which will be starting in approximately 10 minutes' time. As I said, make sure that you guys do tune into that. You do not want to miss that one. But, yeah, thank you to everybody for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next week for round number 13.